Hi everybody, it's Anna back with Unearthed Arcana, and we are here today with another episode of our Skyrim Wildlander Permadeath run, starring Taniesi, aka Tani, our heavy armor, two-handed spellblade Dunmer. We've just cleared out Fort Neugrad near the Helgen border, and we're going to continue our playthrough today. Tani just woke up from her snooze. It's about, let's see what time it is in game. It's about 11 a.m. Kind of like a lazy start for Tani, but honestly she earned her lazy start after the insanity of that last episode and the fight that we had. I'm going to grab some food here, then kind of get this show on the road, and I'll do a little bit of a recap after I give Tani a nice breakfast of pilfered food. So last time we crossed over the Helgen border, which is down here. Then we went to South Fringe Sanctum, cleared out some of the bandits there. Then we went over to Fort Neugrad and cleared out the whole dungeon, mostly at level 1. I think we leveled up at the very, very end of the episode, which was really good timing, actually, because as we leveled up, we grabbed the Barbaric Might two-handed perk, which gives us extra armor penetration, and then we ended up using a power attack to kill the very last enemy that was coming around the corner at us, like right after we leveled up, so nice timing there. For those of you who haven't played Wildlander, this is one of those total immersion overhauls. It makes the game look better, sound better, adds survival elements, roleplay elements, makes combat harder. It's kind of the definitive Skyrim experience for me. I really recommend you check it out if you haven't tried it already. You can look at it on the subreddit, the Discord page. You could check it out on the Wildlander main page or the wiki. Really fun mod pack though, and I really recommend people give it a try. This episode, and really this whole video series, assumes kind of a working knowledge of Wildlander, but it's suitable for both beginners who have never played before and also for veterans who are looking to up their game. So let's head out of Fort Neugrad here and get this episode on the road. And then as I travel, I'll talk a little bit more about my character. As I talked about in the first episode, this is a permadeath run. So if our character dies, that's the end of the series. I just find that that's more of a dynamic and immersive style of gameplay for me. Definitely not for everybody though, and you don't have to play permadeath to play Wildlander, but it does mean that if our character dies, we won't be able to reload any saves. In addition to that, we're using a no HUD run, so as you saw in the first episode, and you're probably seeing right now, there's no HUD on the screen. There's no, if I go into first person and pull out my weapon, there's no crosshair or anything, so I just think this makes the game a lot more fun and immersive, makes combat more enjoyable to watch. And then lastly, there's some unpaused menus that are here, courtesy of the Skyrim Souls mod. And as you saw in the last episode, those who tuned in, there were lots of moments where I had to do some quick inventory manipulation in the middle of a fight. Unpaused menus just makes it a lot more fun. Let's say goodbye to Fort Neugrad and sort of the trail of carnage that we left out here during the battle. We ended up having to run out here at one point in time because we kind of got surrounded. Really fun fight though. I really enjoyed that Fort Neugrad clear at level 1. I think that's pretty emblematic of what you should be able to do with your level 1 character if you're kind of pushing yourself to the max potential of your abilities. Cool thing is we didn't even have to use Ancestor Guardian. We still have that even though it hasn't been 24 hours since the fight. We just didn't use this at all in the first episode. What I am going to do before we hit the road, though, is I'm going to quickly get my healing aura activated. I just got to get in the habit of doing that. Sometimes I forget to do that. As far as our character herself goes, so we're using a custom background. We have two-handed, we have heavy armor, we'll eventually get some block. I got 1 point in smithing just so I can make some basic goods, but I'm not going to get any more points after that. It's just to make the early game a little bit quicker. And then I also have restoration for some healing, and then we'll go pretty deep into the alteration skill tree as well, both for a lot of defensive capabilities as well as some offensive paralysis spells. And then lastly, we have lock picking as well. The other skill that we're going to invest heavily in over time is going to be alchemy, but for now we're not going to worry about that. And then as far as Tanny's inventory goes, so we're using a steel battle axe that we just looted off of one of the dead bandits that we killed during the kind of like Fort Neugrad massacre. And then we also have some like leftover loot from there as well. As far as armor goes, we started off with iron armor, but between all the bandits we've killed, we managed to pick up a really nice steel furred cuirass, which is plate quality armor that provides, in addition to the base armor of, 370, which gives us like a total net armor rating of 697. We also have extra damage resistances courtesy of the plate cuirass. So we have an additional 300 armor against ranged attacks and an additional 180 against slashing attacks. So really nice early game pickup. We got that from one of the bandits we killed in the Fort Neugrad prison. And then we have a bunch of other items here that we're going to sell. We have a bunch of potions as well, kind of a good mix of health and stamina potions we've picked up. We have a few leftover scrolls from our fight with the mages in the Fort Neugrad bandit company. We have beef stew. We got that from Fort Neugrad as well, but we're pretty low on food items here and our character is out of water. Then we have a bunch of alchemy ingredients that I haven't really had an opportunity to craft into potions, but we're going to change that as we get to our next area that we're going to. Got a few books right here. Oh my god, I totally forgot to grab the treasure from the Fort Neugrad map. Oh no, I totally forgot to grab this. Alright, I guess that's fine. We'll just come back and do it later. We'll be in this area in like, you know, by around level 15 or something. We have plenty of money in our inventory. And then I have a bunch of other items here that I'm going to sell. So where we are right now is instead of turning left at the fork in the road and going towards Helgen, we've detoured a little bit this way to go to a Stormcloak camp that's located at the Falkwraith and Rift border. What we're going to do here is we're quickly going to sell some of the items that we looted from the bandits. We're going to grab some steel ingots. We might upgrade some of our equipment. And then after our inventory is a little bit cleared out, we'll head out and move over to Helgen Keep. I really like the Stormcloak Imperial camps because it's a really easy place to talk with a smith, sell some items, buy some items if there's anything good in stock, and then upgrade your equipment.
Here's what I can spare.
So this very like Nordic lady, she's just like got the harsh Nordic stare and like all the blonde Valkyrie hair. Let's see what great sword she has. Okay, just a steel great sword. I am going to buy that though because I definitely prefer great swords to battle axes. I like the speed of great swords. I think it's really important to have a quick weapon in this game. Then I'm also going to buy a hunting knife because I need that to butcher animals and harvest ingredients from them effectively. Doesn't look like she has anything super powerful here. Like steel gauntlets aren't bad. I guess that's a little bit better than our heavy bracers. I just need to keep my eye on her because I have unpaused menus. So if she walks away from me, the inventory is going to close. Let's just like sell all of our random crap on us and then just see how much money we have left over. Sell all those gems. Okay, so we have 2,600 gold. We have a ton of gold right now, so I think I am just going to... I think I will buy these steel gauntlets of major smithing, just because it'll make our early game a little easier, and we just have a ton of money. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to buy... Let's buy... I think like 3 steel ingots is enough. Then let's get these on and let's quickly upgrade our armor. So we'll have 1 ingot for the helmet, 1 ingot for the bracers, and then we'll have 1 more ingot for our new greatsword. I could upgrade the hunting knife, but realistically I'm just not going to use the hunting knife, so... I don't know, screw it. There's no reason not to. Like, we have plenty of gold. Let's just grab another steel ingot and I'll upgrade the hunting knife as well. This is kind of the reason I like to grab smithing in the early game. It's not an optimal perk. Like, it's definitely better to grab another perk like alteration or restoration or something like that. But I like grabbing smithing so that way my character can smith her own tier 1 like weaponry. I was also able to craft this backpack right away. And I was able to do that based off of the loot that I got from the bandit warlocks at South Fringe Sanctum. And if I didn't have smithing, I wouldn't have a backpack, and I wouldn't have been able to loot nearly as much from Fort Neugrad. And then my character, who is now cold, so we're going to warm up by the fire for a second. But if I hadn't been able to loot as much, my character wouldn't have, like, you know, 1,600 gold plus however much I spent on the ingots. So definitely worth it for me to grab that point in smithing just to make this run go a little bit faster. Okay, so my character is warm again, but I am going to have to do one more thing before we leave the Stormcloak camp, which is use their alchemy table to quickly make some potions. So Dunmer can actually craft potions without a point in alchemy, which is really cool. I'm going to combine the snowberries and the fly amanita. I got the fly amanita from a barrel at Fort Neugrad. And I'm going to combine those together to make a restore or a fortify stamina regeneration potion. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the canis root and the nightshade to make a basic poison as well. I would love to make another stamina potion. I don't know, do hawk feathers have a stamina property? No, they have a sneak property. Alright, I guess that's not very helpful for our character, but that's okay. We grab this damage health potion, and we have the fortify stamina regeneration potion. And while our character warms up, let's just reconfigure our hotkeys. Because we're playing a Dead is Dead run and a run with unpaused menus, it's really important to have our hotkeys set up so they work for us. So primary weapon goes to 1, our secondary weapon goes to 2. It's pretty rare that I'll use a knife in the middle of battle, but sometimes you can use it to quickly apply a poison to maybe paralyze someone, and then run away and grab your greatsword if you got disarmed. So 1 and 2 for those. Let's do poison on hotkey 4. And then I'll use kind of health on hotkey 8. And we have stamina on hotkey 7. And I'll leave those other hotkeys open for now. I don't really have anything I need to put there. Okay, so nice little detour towards the Stormcloaks. Whenever you do a Helgen border crossing start, I really recommend that you detour to the Stormcloaks if you have the patience to make this little cut over here. It just makes your early game a little bit easier because then you're getting to clear out your inventory of all of the carry weight that you picked up at Fort Neugrad and South Fringe Sanctum. So now we're going to go to Helgen and loot some of the items in Helgen Keep. Later on at around level like 10 or 11, Helgen Keep gets taken over by bandits, but at our level right now, Helgen Keep is totally empty except for some animals at the very end. So for those of you who didn't join our playthrough last time, I really recommend you check out the episode. But one of the things that this playthrough is doing is it's showcasing the heavy armor two-handed spellblade style of gameplay, which is a style that I have found a lot of enjoyment playing, and is one that I think is very well suited for a permadeath run. You have a lot of stopping power in the early game because you're using two-handed weapons, plus you have a lot of survivability, so if you get clipped by an enemy, you're not instantly going to die. Like, your heavy armor will probably save you for just 1 hit, maybe 2 hits, depending on like what level you are. And then as you level up, you get to hit a lot harder. You get to supplement your greatsword and like two-handed attacks with extra bit of magic. And then by the time you hit the late game, your character hits super, super hard, and you have a lot of spells that can kind of like supplement their melee attacks. So I've used this build to get all the way through endgame content like Mirac and Alduin, the Ebony Warrior. I did die to the Ebony Warrior, but I think I was just like not geared quite enough. But I was able to fight Ebony Vampires, Dragon Priests, Dragons, Centurions without any significant problems. Like, those are definitely hard fights, but the build was very capable. So turning gears away from the build for a bit, we're at Helgen right here, so we're going to go into Helgen through the doors up front. Both of these doors are locked at the beginning of the game. I like to break in through this side door to the Legionnaire barracks over here. If you don't have lockpicking, you can enter Helgen through the cave on the back entrance, but that just takes a lot of time, so I'm just going to enter through this side over here. Actually, it looks like my character leveled up probably from all the smithing and the selling of the items that we did back at the Stormcloak camp, so I'm going to level up once I get inside of Helgen Keep. Let my character warm up a little bit. We'll get her lantern on as well. We picked up a lantern at Fort Neugrad. I think the lantern is a really cool addition in Wildland. You can see it on my right hip. It's like there's no lantern, now the lantern's on. Just like adds a little bit of illumination and makes exploration a little easier. Okay, let's level up our character. So in the early game, I like to max out health. I like to get my base health up to 150 before I branch out to other stats. And our stamina is at 220 because we went with Stone of the Steed as our birthstone. And I really love Stone of the Steed. Like, the entire last episode was brought to you by Stone of the Steed. Without Stone of the Steed, there was no fucking way we were going to be able to fight the bandits at Fort Neugrad. So if you want to have an exciting early game and you don't want to just sit around, like, training up until you get to a higher level, Stone of the Steed is really invaluable. Stone of the Mage is also perfectly viable if you want to have a slower early game and then have, like, a slightly better late game. And then with our one perk that we have to increase, God, I would love to increase the heavy armor and get like Relentless Onslaught here, which allows us to sprint with no stamina penalty. But we're just too far away for that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab Alteration. And the reason for this is because I can start to passively level up Alteration as soon as I get it. So now that I have Alteration, I'm going to hotkey my spells. I can't cast these spells with my heavy armor on just yet. This is a big disadvantage of playing a Spellblade in Wildlander in the early game. If I try to cast Candlelight with my armor on, it's going to cost 663 magicka. But if I take my armor off, my character is just kind of like naked right here in the middle of the Helgen Keep barracks. Candlelight is back down to a much more reasonable 70 magicka. Let's get Candlelight on. And the reason for that is because there is a perk in the heavy armor skill tree called Combat Casting, which I need in order to cast Apprentice and Novice spells in heavy armor without a magicka penalty. And then Combat Trance is Adept spell, Combat Meditation is Expert, etc., etc. So without those, I'm not going to be able to cast spells in my heavy armor, but I can definitely start leveling up Conjuration with this Candlelight spell, just kind of like ambiently orbiting around my head like my very own fairy from Legend of Zelda. It's like my very own Navi, except she's not very helpful. And the reason we're leveling up Alteration, in case you missed last episode, I definitely like totally scrolled the wrong way on that. That was the slow way around. Partially it's for the spells, but the main reason is so we can eventually unlock magic resistance here, which gives us passive magic resistance, which makes it much easier to survive into the mid-game and late game. Okay, anyway, enough about the leveling up. Let's get back to the gameplay. So here's the Helgen Keep barracks. You can grab some buck antlers here as an alchemy ingredient. I love that when I grab this one's going to disappear. It's like, now you see me, now you don't. Just like some weird Skyrim glitch there. There's some like decent items here, like this Imperial Mace is a pretty solid level, like early game mace you can grab, and in case you have bad armor, you can get some pretty decent armor from this chest right here, but I'm not going to worry about that because our character has really solid armor. I also grabbed that key there, even though I'm like 90% sure that key doesn't do anything. Like, I feel like every time I grab that key and it doesn't open a single door in this entire keep. Maybe it opens the door over there that I lockpicked. I guess that's possible. I've never tested that out before, but that'd be pretty silly if that was true. And then coming over to this main room here, which is the room where if you join the Stormcloaks at the beginning of the vanilla game, this is where they untie your hands. Don't forget to loot this dead Stormcloak for his potion of health. You can loot this armor too. It's got pretty good value per weight, so it's like worth reselling. I think I'll just grab that just in case. And then this guy here is like no good items as far as like actual mechanical stuff goes, but the Faded Note and the Report have some really kind of cool like lore references. The Faded Note feels like this is actually a receipt to get a free horse or something, and like I always wonder if there's a way to, I don't know, restore this or edit it or, you know, actually cash in on the free horse, but I've never been able to do that. And then this report right here with the red cover is kind of an in-game reference for the different skill trainers throughout Skyrim. So like on the left side of the page, it talks about how you can learn Sword and Shield at Dushnik Yal and Mor Kazgor, which are 2 orc strongholds. And like a few pages later, like on the right side, it talks about how Atub of Largishbur is an illusion teacher. And like Finis Gestor and Phalion are conjuration people. Anyway, just kind of a nice little in-game roleplay reference. You totally don't have to grab it, but if you're playing more of a roleplay run, this is a great place to learn about the different skill trainers. Then you can also grab a lantern here in case you missed one earlier. There's another lantern over here if you forget that one. Okay, heading a little bit deeper into Helgen Keep, there's a few more items that we want to pick up while we're here. And like I was saying, when you come here at around level 10 or 11, there's a bunch of bandits inside. Totally unrelated, but I've always wanted to see if I went to Helgen Keep later in the game, when I actually had, like, Whirlwind Sprint and the other shouts, if I could Whirlwind Sprint under this before it collapses, or if there's, like, an invisible wall there. I wonder if I'm sure someone's tried that out before, but if you have, let me know how it went for you. Maybe I'll try it in a later run. Definitely want to grab these alchemy ingredients here. Generally speaking, I grab as many alchemy ingredients as I can. And then don't forget the little coin purse that's hidden behind these barrels. We'll grab the salt. That'll eventually be helpful for restoring magicka in our, like, once we get combat casting. And then another cool roleplay book is this Bestiary of Skyrim, which, like, gives you some in-game explanations about how to kill the different enemies. Like, this is the book that actually tells you that, where is it? Like, this tells you that Falmer are immune to poison, for example. It also tells you that, like, Draugr are vulnerable to silver, and, like, how to kill trolls and spriggans. Kind of a cool roleplay reference, but I'm not going to bother with it. It's just a little heavy for my inventory. One of the main reasons to come to Helgen Keep, though, is this barrel right here, which has this awesome trove of really powerful potions. I tend to grab all of these in the early game, except for the Restore Magicka potions, because realistically I'm not going to use these just yet. And I will come back to Helgen Keep at around level 10 to 15 when I am using magicka. So I'm just going to leave these here for now, rather than add an extra 1.5 pounds to my inventory. And then with all these other potions here, I'm just going to hotkey a few of those. So I'm just going to hotkey the armor rating potion, and then I'll also hotkey the Restore Health Remarkable potion. And that, I'll just have this ready just in case, like, we need a panic mode button, but I also have the crudes if it's, like, less of a scary situation. If you wanted to grab a crossbow, there's some bolts here and a crossbow here, and then there's another craftsman manual up here as well. I'm going to skip all that though for because we're going to be tight on carry weight. But I will grab the salt and the coin purse and that little Restore Health potion. Let's also reapply Candlelight. I think that it's really important to start leveling up Alteration as early as possible, and, like, this is not a lot of experience points, but, like, it is slowly leveling up over time. The sooner we can get to Alteration 25 and get magic resistance, the more we'll be able to survive bandit mages throughout the early game. So here's the kind of, like, torture dungeon room of Helgen. If you're playing this on your own, I really recommend picking the locks of every single cage in here to level things up. You don't have to on this guy, like, you can actually activate this guy's corpse and, like, steal all of his mage equipment through the door. Sorry, buddy. And then there's also a bunch of ingredients here, like spider eggs and slaughterfish eggs and chorus eggs. Then this dead Stormcloak has good light armor if you're playing an evasion character, and then he has a random two-handed weapon. I'm probably just gonna, I'll just grab this just in case. Like, we'll probably end up ditching it later, but it's worth some decent money. I will ditch this random bucket back on the corpse. I think it's really gross. There's a bunch of eggs here. It's like the implication is they're, like, gonna torture people with the eggs, which is, like, super scary and ick. But, like, I don't know. Skyrim's kind of a grisly game, so it's kind of on brand. I'll just pick this one here because I see there's a coin purse behind it and I kind of can't resist the coin purse. But if this was your own run, I would just pick everything back here. It'll help you level up quicker. And then over on this table, there's a backpack with some extra ingredients. I'll definitely grab all of those. And then there's also a flask of spider venom here. Spider venom is a really powerful early and mid-game item. Honestly, it's still good even into the late game. It's a poison that on hit does a little bit of damage over time, but more importantly, it paralyzes the target for 2 seconds. And that paralysis combined with a two-handed character gives you a fantastic option to paralyze someone and then just like massacre them with power attacks while they're on the ground. Grab these lockpicks too, and like you can pick the locks on these doors as well, but I'm not going to do that for the interest of time. It says that the spider venom only paralyzes for 2 seconds, but during the time where they're falling down, and then the time that it takes for them to stand back up, it ends up being about like 4 seconds total, like add 2 seconds on top of that. So it's a really, really powerful item, and as much as you can grab those in the early game, I would. You can also combine spider venom crudes and then distill those into spider venom good, and then you can upgrade those further to the great and superlative versions by using different alchemy ingredients. In order to do that, you need to get your Hunterborn level higher. Hunterborn is that mod that governs like butchering animals and cleaning carcasses and stuff like that. So if you don't have that, then you're not going to be able to do the spider venom trick, but we'll keep an eye on that for the later, like kind of more into the mid-game after we've butchered more animals. For now, we're just going to keep moving through Helgen. If anyone knows of any other hand-placed loot that I've missed in Helgen, I'd love to hear about it, but I feel like I've kind of like gotten all of the hand-placed loot that I could think about in here. Like I might have missed a few environmental storytelling details. Like I know there's a diary in one of the prison cells, but other than that I think I got all the mechanical stuff. Coming to the end of Helgen Keep here, we come to this little chamber full of spider webs, a bunch of little spooters around here. What I'm gonna do is quickly cast mage armor just so we can kind of facilitate leveling this up as well. In order to do that, take off my armor. After this fight and we get out of here, I'll probably talk a little bit more about like taking your armor on and off to cast spells. I think it's like, it's a little cheesy. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I kind of want to level my character up quicker. I'm gonna let these spiders poke me, 'cause it's not gonna deal that much damage. And it's going to help me level up my mage armor a little bit. You can really cheese this and like just let these guys just like absolutely smack the crap out of you. Come on dude, give me a little pokey. But as you can see, it just doesn't deal a lot of damage. Anyway, you could really let those guys attack you and then over time like level up your armor that way, but that feels really cheesy to me. I feel like letting them like sneak a little hit in there once in a while isn't a big deal, but I don't want to make a habit out of it. Okay, now that the spiders are dead, we can go over here and fight the juvenile spiders, the little bigger ones. If those are the baby spooters, these are kind of more the adolescent spiders. Spiders are a little scary. I totally missed that bash right there. That was really sloppy. There we go. Got the second bash. It's kind of what matters. So I killed those 2 spiders without a lot of trouble, although that one spider did nick us, but not a huge deal. That's why we have heavy armor. Now that these spiders are dead, we're going to extract the spider venom from them. And we got both of them. There's a small chance that you spill the venom on your hands and then you lose the venom. But now we have 3 spider venoms in our inventory, which is really powerful. So we'll be able to use those pretty aggressively in the early game. In the interest of time, I'm not going to harvest or butcher these spider carcasses, even though that would help me level up my Hunterborn skills. My character's also already thirsty and peckish, and I'm a little concerned about her being thirsty, because if I'm thirsty, that reduces my stamina. I can solve her being peckish, though, by just eating this apple pie. And candlelight just wore off, so I'll get candlelight back on again. As you're playing your own run and you're going through the early game, I really recommend that you like keep your alteration spells going, because you know we just got alteration and we're already at level 21 just because we had mage armor on and because we had candlelight on. I'll also grab these skeever tails because those are good ingredients that we can make some poisons with later. And then I'll check this out to see if there's any spider eggs. There's actually a ton of spider eggs in there. I'm going to save these for later. I'm not going to grab all these now. I'll grab this batch because it's a little smaller. And I'll check this corpse here and see if he's got anything on him. Oh my god, I can't like interact with this guy. Okay, just iron boots, nothing good. Okay, so that's it for the spiders in Helgen Keep. The last enemy in here is a bear. Let's fight the bear and we'll kill the bear. I feel like this bear is something that like you definitely don't need spider venom to fight this bear, but if you have spider venom it just makes the fight much safer. Bears are kind of scary in the early game. They have a very quick attack animation and they also have a very slow attack animation. Their slow attack animation is super easy to dodge or bash interrupt. They like rear up on their hind legs and then they come down and smash you, and if they hit you you're gonna get knocked over and get a bunch of damage dealt, but it's really easy to dodge. Their faster attack though, their like lunging attack, that attack has very little telegraphing. It's pretty hard to bash interrupt, but you can block it if you have your shield or your sword out. Anyway, just in the interest of being safe, let's activate mage armor here. Let's quickly get our armor back on. Let's go fight this bear. I am going to use the spider venom to fight this bear just to like make sure that we're being safe. So that's the really slow attack animation. I can just come in and follow up with a few swings. So I'll hit the bear a few times and then I'll finish it off with a power attack. Okay, so nice and easy fight right there. The spider venom just made that kind of a non-factor. And then because we were smacking the bear with the sword, we managed to level up again. So I'll grab some health. And then I think for our perk, I'm going to grab blocking, because we definitely want to have our blocking perk active before we fight more bandits. Blocking is such an essential part of playing a permadeath character. Even with heavy armor, blocking is important, because if you get a direct hit with a lot of mid and late game like big strong enemies, it could still kill you in one hit and definitely in 2 hits. But blocking ends up mitigating like 90% plus of the damage, so it's really important to get your blocking timing down and invest in those blocking perks. Okay, so our character is now level 4. Tani is looking pretty good so far. Let's head out of Helgen Keep. Let me actually save. I haven't saved in a while here, although I guess it's been auto-saving while I've been traveling. I think it auto-saves sometimes when I open up my skills menu. But Helgen Keep is just a great place to go and pick up some items, grab a little bit of extra experience points, and if you want to, you can start butchering some animals and leveling up Hunterborn as well. But definitely optional, you totally don't have to. And in fact, I'm not doing it this time, just in the interest of saving some time. The next thing we're going to do though, now that it's nighttime and we're out of Helgen Keep, is we're going to go grab a Blessing of Talos over by Lake Ilnata. We'll also grab a few other items at that Blessing of Talos shrine area. Then we're going to fight some bandits. And then we're probably going to go do Embershard Mine. And then we'll wrap up the episode after Embershard Mine. This route that I've taken is sort of like, I don't know how many times I've done this route, like probably at least 10. Like this is my favorite starting route for a heavy armor two-handed character. You can see the bandits down there that we're going to kill. You can also see they have this like super ugly glowing orb of fire. I don't know what's going on down there. There's a graphical glitch that sometimes happens, but I'll show you how to fix it when we get down there. It's pretty easy to fix in the console. Anyway, we'll let the bandits party down there for a second before we go and abruptly end their party. Ooh, there's some explosions down there. Generally speaking, if you hear explosions on the road, it's probably Imperial Legionnaires and their battle mages, but you never quite know, and it's always really scary traveling the roads of Skyrim at night. You can get some really scary random encounters with vampires on the roads at night. So generally speaking, I try not to travel at night as much as I can, which is why I'm kind of like up on this ridge line over here, instead of down on the main road. But that gets us right to the Shrine of Talos, which is down this way, and I'm just gonna walk my character kind of slowly down so I don't like fall to my death or anything stupid. Okay, so here's the Shrine of Talos. It's an unmarked location. I feel like everyone's probably run across this at one point in time or another. It's over down here at the southern, like southeastern edge of Lake Ilnata. There's a bunch of Talos priests that are here. There's some Talos worshippers. In Wildlander, there's this guy here. I call him the Imperial Outcast because of his unique armor set. And he's got this really cool, like, light armor bear headdress, which I really enjoy. But he also has the Amulet of Talos, which we're going to grab. That's a nice little early game item for us. And he's got a letter that talks about how he got kicked out of the Legion for his religious beliefs. And then the reason all these people are dead is because this jerk Thalmor agent, like, crashed their party because he was on an assignment to go look for them. He's been trying to find them for months now. Anyway, he kills them and they kill him, and that's kind of all she wrote. Oh my god, this is such a great item to get. An Eminent Sure Grip bracer set, but it's not heavy armor. Oh, that's such a bummer. God, if I was playing like a light armored barbarian, this would be an amazing pickup in the early game. I mean, we're still going to get it. We're just going to sell it. We're not going to use it. I would rather have the armor rating. I don't know, maybe I'll kind of go hybrid for these next few fights. We'll take a look at how that affects our armor rating. Then we'll steal all this guy's equipment. This is the Thalmor orders that talks about like how the emissary in the Thalmor embassy, Ellen Wynn, sent this guy to go investigate here and was like, you're a really shitty agent. We haven't heard anything about this Talos cell. Like, either find it or like put up or shut up, buddy. Anyway, he found it. Just died doing it. And then I'll also loot these guys here, see if they have any gold. Then I'll grab the Blessing of Talos from the shrine. Oops, sorry Talos, I didn't mean to like steal your sword offering. I'm just trying to like click on this blessing thing with no HUD. So we do have some carry weight issues right now, so I'm just gonna drop a few items here. I don't think we need the Nord mead. Like the buck antlers they're a nice ingredient, but they're not worth a lot and they're pretty heavy. The Thalmor boots are a little heavy too. Then I'll ditch my smithing gauntlets here. Let me see how this affects my armor rating. So my armor rating is at 696, and if I switch to the Sure Grip bracers, it only goes down by 40. And then in exchange, my damage on this weapon goes up to 178. So that's definitely worth it. So this is a rare case where it actually makes sense to do kind of a hybrid build here. Let's just ditch, I don't know, we'll just ditch these fur guard boots right here just to make sure we're good on carry weight. Let's also reapply our spells really quickly while we're waiting here. Then we'll go fight these bandits. Anyway, so I very rarely do like a hybrid build between light armor and heavy armor. This is a rare exception where it does make sense though, because Eminent Sure Grip, like an extra 20% two-handed damage is really significant. The only time where this could become a problem is at heavy armor 20, because I will need a full set of heavy armor to get the deflection benefit of Relentless Onslaught. But I'm only heavy armor 18, so this isn't a concern yet. So I'll probably roll around with these scaled bracers of what's it called, Eminent Sure Grip, until I hit level 20. Okay, let's head down and fight these bandits over here. We'll assess how many of them are in the camp first, and if there's like 6 of them, we'll probably maybe like, I don't know, we'll probably still fight them, but we'll be a little bit more strategic in our approach. Okay, I see at least 3 of them. There's a fuck ton of bandits up there. God, the more spawns randomized mod really like makes this game a lot scarier. Let me go into the console and quickly get rid of this like horrible glowing orb right here. So the way to do that is you just go to the console and then you can use your mouse wheel to scroll until you see the light campfire effect. And then if you just disable that, it gets rid of the really ugly glowing orb. Holy shit, there's 5 bandits here. So there's this guy, there's these 3 idiots. Honestly, this is not a very smart fight to pick. This is a bad idea. Fuck it. We have a lot of potions. We're just gonna fucking do it. Alright, so I'm gonna go down here and just like quickly throw on my mage armor. This is honestly an area where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to throw on mage armor and like sneak down here and like take my armor on and off. I'm definitely gonna use my beef stew here as well that I got from Fort Neugrad. And then I'm also gonna pop this Fortify Stamina regeneration potion. Okay, let's just fucking do it. So the strategy here is we're going to try to lure these two-handed guys away from the ranged people. Ooh, that's a mage. So I'm gonna kill her, and now we're gonna kind of run through these guys. I'm gonna pop a stamina potion, and we're gonna take this guy down. This guy did shoot us, but that's okay. We'll pop a restore health crude poison or potion, and now let's just reset and kind of see where we're at with these enemies. So we killed the mage and we killed the archer, and now all we have left are a guy with a shield and then two guys with two-handed weapons. So this guy's already overextended. Of course, I totally flubbed my attack right there, which is too bad. Let's see if we can bait this guy into swimming. Oh geez, got a little close there. Okay, nice little follow-up swing. I'm just like not like quite getting my distance where it needs to be. There we go. Nice little overextended attack there.
I fought worse than you.
I'd love to get a bash on this guy. I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go for a bash on the axeman, and then just, this guy slashes me. It's not the end of the world. Oh, never mind. Oh, this guy protected his buddy there with a nice little bash. That was nice of him. Let's see if we can get this guy in between him and his friend, and then get a kill. So what I did there is I circled around this guy and then lined him up between him and his buddy. Got the power attack on the side. Let's follow up again. Oh, got a little close right there. And then because this guy was interposed between his buddy and me, I was able to get a bash in there without his friend having a counterattack opportunity. Let's do another sideways power attack to knock this guy down. Oh, very nice. So the way you deal with shields are typically with power attacks. I find sideways power attacks to be kind of the most effective way to negotiate that. Okay, and then there's one guy that ran away, so we're just gonna go hunt this guy down. I feel like Taniesi is suitably bloodthirsty. There is absolutely no way she's letting bandits run away from her. Like, these guys attacked her, and now they get to pay the price. Of course I have to fucking find this guy. I have no idea where this guy went. This guy must be terrified. He's like hiding in the dark, and he's like, oh my god, this crazy... Aw, there you are, buddy. Where are you going? You ain't going nowhere. Oh, it's hard to run away when you get your limbs chopped off. Okay, so that's it for the bandit camp. That was actually a really clean clear. We had kind of a good tactical setup for that fight, though, which kind of like helped us be successful. I'm gonna drink this bottle of water and have these leaks while I have it in my inventory options. So the reason we were so successful in that fight is because we kind of paused initially and just sort of assessed the battle and then planned out roughly how it was going to go before we just charged in there. I feel like most of the time when people have issues in combat, especially in the early game, people just aren't assessing their fights properly. This is different in sort of the mid-game and the late game where, like, you know, you don't really need to assess the fight. Like, you know you're about to fight a dragon. You know you're about to fight an ebony vampire and his two acolytes. The problems arise there less so in planning and more so in execution. Whereas I think a lot of early game fights run into trouble because there's planning problems. Like, people just charge into bandit areas and they're like, oh my god, why are these bandits killing me? And it's like, yo, why are you charging into a fight with 5 bandits with no strategy? That's a terrible idea. Anyway, we had good execution there and that paid off. Okay, so we looted all these bandits here and we grabbed a treasure map from this guy. We're not going to forget to do this treasure map this time. We're actually going to do that. Funny side note about these treasure maps. This is so funny to me. These treasure maps are some of the best drawn treasure maps I've ever seen in a fantasy game. Like, look at this shit. We have like a 3-dimensional rendering of the town. We have dotted lines for the main roads. We have a label, just in case you didn't know what town that was. It's labeled. And then we also have an X marks the spot. But just in case you couldn't figure out the X marks the spot, we also have a zoomed in view that shows a cross-hatched log that has like full shading and perspective and another X. Just like the funniest thing. And then to like add to the hilarity, there's like a coffee cup stain on it and like a circular pattern. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, it's really funny to me. I feel like this is the sort of thing that like Gamer Rant would write an article on. It's like Skyrim treasure maps unusually well drawn. There's a skill book here. Typically I wouldn't bother because it's a one-handed skill book, but there's a quest in Dawnstar where there's someone who actually wants this skill book, so I just pick it up here so I can give it to them later. Okay, but that is it for this little bandit outpost that we cleared out. We'll leave another kind of trail of carnage in our wake here. Let's reapply candle lights before we head out on the road. Keep leveling up alteration. God, those eminent two-handed gauntlets really paid off, because there were definitely some power attacks there that I did not feel were going to kill the people in like 1 or 2 hits, but like we were just hitting so much harder because of those gauntlets. So typically what I would do at around this point is probably go straight to Riverwood and sell everything, because I'm really capped out on carry weight here. So I think that is what I'm gonna do, just in the interest of like getting some items stored. It's kind of late right now in game. Like my character's doing fine as far as thirst goes. She's warm. She's rested. So like I'm not gonna rest and spend the night or anything, but I am gonna run to Riverwood, drop off some of my items in a crate for the night, and then I'm gonna clear out Embershard afterwards. So Embershard's over here. It actually looks like there's 2 sentries in front. God, the more spawns randomized mod has been particularly crazy in this playthrough. We had like 7 people, 8 people in the Fort Neugrad courtyard. That little bandit camp over by the Shrine of Talos had 5 people. There's 2 guards over here. Honestly, that's fun though. That kind of makes for a much more dynamic playthrough. It'll just make it much more enjoyable to continue playing and watching. I do have to be a little careful for my stamina, because I don't actually have any stamina potions other than these remarkables, so I have to manage my stamina a little bit. Looks like there's no wolves on the road here. There's typically wolves that hang out around here, but they don't seem to be home right now. Anyway, getting back to that fight with the 5 bandits, so the really key distinction as you're playing your own game is sort of the difference between the preparation for a fight, the planning for a fight, and the execution of the fight. So preparation is all about like making sure you have beef stew. Do you have enough potions in your inventory? Do you have all of your consumables hotkeyed correctly? Like that's a preparation piece, and that starts before you even leave the town. Then there's a planning piece, which is just like, okay, do I have a plan going into this fight, or am I just like running in there and just like flailing my sword? I feel like I saw someone who was talking about how they were struggling to play Wildlander, and I saw a video of them play, and I'm like, of course you're struggling. You just ran in there and flailed your sword around. You have no stamina potions. Like, of course you're dying. So that's more of like a planning thing. It's like making sure you're prioritizing the right targets and you have a plan. And then the last piece is execution, which is like how well do you actually execute that fight. So I'm going to quickly store a bunch of my random items in this kind of crate of, like this empty crate outside of the Riverwood Trader. I feel like the Wildlander devs have told me that it's sort of like unintentional that I'm able to do this. Like this technically should be marked as owned. I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Probably doesn't make sense that I can just store all my stuff in this crate overnight. I don't know, I like to roleplay that maybe like the guards, I can talk to them and be like, hey, could I just like store all of my looted shit in this crate overnight and you just like make sure no one steals it? And they're like, yeah, whatever, lady. Okay, so we have our Amulet of Talos, we have our beef stew. While I'm here in town, I am gonna run to the Sleeping Giant Inn and grab some kind of stamina soup though, because I really should have some stamina soup in my active effects before I do Embershard Mine. I'd probably be fine without it, honestly, because my character has some pretty decent items and potions at this point in time, but like, in the interest of being safe.
Are you listening?
I love these two, they're so funny.
The ale is going bad. We need to get in.
He's like not even looking at her.
We got rooms and food.
We're just gonna interrupt their conversation.
Ain't much else to tell.
Really important note about your own runs. If you're going to join the companions, which our character is definitely going to do, it's definitely a character who's going to be a companion, do not grab any bounties in the early game, because what can happen sometimes is these bounties can occasionally conflict with the Radiant quests that the companions give you. and that can result in you suddenly like having a quest marker that's sending you to a location you've already cleared. And then when you get there, there's no bandit there. Or like the quest marks as completed in your journal, but you haven't actually done anything. Anyway, don't grab these bounty quests. You don't need them. It's only 500 gold. You can get that gold somewhere else. It's just better for your save game and your sanity to not grab those.
Let's save
but let's definitely see what he's got in stock. Okay, so let's see what dumplings he has. Oh, nice. He has a chicken dumpling. Chicken dumplings give you extra two-handed damage, so I'll grab that. I'll grab a lavender honey dumpling. It gives us more magic resistance. I don't think there's going to be any mages in Embershard. One of the nice things about Embershard Mine is it typically does not have mages, but you never really know, so I'm just going to grab one. I was going to grab a meat pie if he had one, because that increases our stamina, but it looks like he doesn't have one. But he does have mammoth tomato stew, which is the best basic stamina soup that you can get at an inn. It lasts for 7,200 seconds, and it restores 1 point of stamina. So I'm just going to grab 3 of those now. And then I'll just refill my water with Orgnar just to like save a little bit of time.
Did you hear me?
Ah, Delphine is still nagging this guy.
I guess you don't have potatoes in your ears after all.
These two have a funny
Just make sure we
dynamic.
get a fresh
I don't
batch
love
soon.
Delphine because obviously...
Let me know if you want anything.
now this
Think I
guy's
got a
like
clean
welcoming
mug
us
around
even
here
though we just
somewhere.
talked to him. Delphine is obviously not my favorite because like she has you go try to kill Parthenax later and like everyone likes party snacks. Why would you kill Mr. Party Snacks? That's terrible. But that's okay. I mean like we don't have to deal with her till later, and Orgnar is still awesome. We always love Orgnar. While we're down here, let's actually kill some more bandits before we clear out Embershard. I feel like people forget there's a little bandit camp up here. There's also a skill book in this bandit camp, and we currently don't have any skill books that we would actually use. Like we have a one-handed skill book and a conjuration skill book, but we're not using either of those. But if we come up here, we're going to fight a few bandits, and we'll get a block skill book as well. So if you're doing this run on your own, you're doing this Helgen border start, one way to make this a little bit easier, especially in terms of carry weight, is if instead of turning right after the Shrine of Talos, you turn left and you go over to this area right here. And over there's a hunter, and that hunter has a horse that hangs out nearby, and you can just straight up steal that horse from the hunter. You can also like murder the hunter and take the horse, but if you just steal the horse, it just gives you like a 1 horses stolen penalty. It's not that bad. It doesn't affect you from like getting shrines or blessings later. And then that solves your carry weight issues for the kind of like immediate Helgen border crossing. We're not going to do that because we're going to steal the horse from some skooma dealers on the Whiterun Plains, but it is an option for you if you're wanting to make this opening Helgen border crossing sequence a little bit faster. Looks like we're good on healing aura. We don't have candlelight available, but like we're already at this bandit place, so I'm not going to worry about it. I am just going to quickly cast mage armor though before we go up there. I feel like it's a little cheesy to kind of take your armor on and off and like cast spells, so I try not to do it in combat. Like that feels extra cheesy, particularly if you're using paused menus. It's a little better with unpaused menus, like it's a little less egregious, but god, fucking 3 bandits. More spawns randomized has really just like fucking done us in with the spawns. Okay, so let's do a quick plan here. So the plan is going to be lure the 2 people out that have 2-handed weapons, and then after they've been lured out, we'll close the gap on this archer.
Never should have come here.
So let's get these guys to get lured out. I'm going to try to keep them in between me and the archer, and now we're going to run around and sprint and take down this archer.
Not impressed.
Okay, so that guy's dead, and now we're just going to cut him over here and just kind of reset the fight. So the priority is definitely going to be this lady with the warhammer because she's going to have the slower swing. So we'll be able to finish her off quicker. She's running away, so now we can just fight this guy one-on-one. This guy's got some nice dwarven armor. Well, honestly, he's kind of a coward, though. Where are you going, buddy? Executed.
I yield. I yield.
How did that work out for your friend, lady? Executed. Alright, that didn't work out so well for them. This guy's got some really solid armor. He's got a dwarven salvaged cuirass. We'll check that out in a second, but I'm gonna loot up here first. So again, good example of kind of planning and execution. So the planning element there was we decided to lure those people away, then we flanked them and killed the archer, and the execution piece was like actually doing it. I actually had a nice little detail in there as well where I kept these two guys interposed between me and the archer, so the archer wasn't able to get a clean shot at me. Let's go loot the archer though and see if he had anything good. Nothing super great. I'll take the healing poultice though and just apply that to myself to keep our regeneration going. And then this is as good a time as any to reapply candlelight now that I'm not in combat. Let's get our armor back on. Let's check out these dead people over here. So this guy's got a dwarven salvaged cuirass, which is actually pretty good armor, especially for the early game. Its armor is 26 points higher than steel furred cuirass, so a little bit better there, but its resistances are a little bit different. So steel furred cuirass has slashing rank 3 and ranged rank 5. A dwarven salvaged cuirass has ranged rank 3 and blunt rank 2. So I think overall the steel furred cuirass is better. My rationale for this is that I rarely get hit with blunt attacks because they're mostly super slow, but slashing attacks tend to be a lot faster, so I might get nicked by those. So I'm going to prioritize the slashing resistance over the bludgeoning resistance. But if you want to, you can definitely use the dwarven salvaged cuirass, and like there's something to be said for having a plus 26 extra base armor as well. But it is worth a lot of money. It's worth 1,000 gold, which obviously will get discounted because our character doesn't have any points in speech. We're gonna cut over this way to get to Embershard Mine, just because it'll be a little faster than going back down and then through Riverwood. We just have to be a little careful on this road, because sometimes random encounters spawn here. Like, I've definitely been ambushed by Spriggans in this area and just had to, like, literally jump off this mountain to get away from them, because Spriggans are super scary at low levels. One thing I haven't talked a lot about is that a long time ago I used to get the speech perk in order to level up speech and like make more money. I got super freaked out by that bunny. I thought it was a saber cat for a second. But I no longer bother with the speech perk. I don't think it's necessary. Like, you make tons of money just from selling stuff that you pick up. Like, we're at 1900 gold. We have tons of good items. Like, we just don't need the speech perk for any of that. Yeah, I'm gonna super carefully walk down this mountain so I don't fall to my death. Be a really stupid way to die in a permadeath run. But I have definitely done it before. I think this isn't that far. Okay, yeah, we're safe. I'm a little scared about that, but I think we're okay. Okay, let's get our steel greatsword out. Did I save? I forgot if I saved. I'm gonna save right now. God, I haven't saved in a while. I'm actually really glad I'm saving right here. There's some wolves. God, there's fucking wolves everywhere over here. Let's like lure the wolves out and just like quickly deal with them now so they don't flank us in the middle of this fight with the Embershard Mine sentries. Where is that? Oh, the wolf is right there. Okay. I've definitely gotten into a situation where I've been fighting Embershard Mine sentries. And I've been ambushed by these wolves while I'm fighting them. Sounds like the other two are kind of far over there though, so I think I'm gonna be okay. Yeah, I don't hear them coming towards me. Okay, but let's go fight these Embershard Mine people. Because we know there's 2 sentries here. I'm gonna quickly throw my mage armor back on. Get my armor back on. Now let's go fight these guys in front of Embershard Mine. Might as well use my chicken dumpling and my lavender honey dumpling as well. Okay, so these guys are kind of like dinky. Like, these guys are just gonna die. Oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. It was such a perfect follow-up hit. Okay, we're gonna do a power attack and just kill this lady. Oh, we did the rear power attack there. I really like the rear power attack because they tend to just keep advancing into it. And in this case, our power attacks just deal so much frickin' damage that this lady, even though she was blocking, like her armor is really shitty, so she just immediately died. Okay, let's head into Embershard Mine now. Let's reapply our healing aura, because I think that's worn off. And then we'll head inside. Embershard Mine should be pretty easy for us, given that we cleared out Fort Neugrad without any difficulty, and like Fort Neugrad's way harder than Embershard Mine. Fort Neugrad, you're guaranteed to get at least 3 bandit mages over the course of the dungeon, whereas Embershard Mine, I don't think there's any unless you get unlucky. Honestly though, I shouldn't say that, because clearly our more spawns randomized mod keeps adding like 1,000,000 enemies into this area. Okay, let's pop a Fortify Stamina Regeneration Potion. I could sneak up to these guys, but I feel like Tani is in a bloodthirsty mood and is just ready to like murder people. Okay, 2 guys with 2-handed weapons. This guy got stuck, so this idiot's just gonna die in like 1 hit. Oh my god, he's already running away. Dude, are you even gonna give me like... I have to bash interrupt someone. Like, I feel like if we're not this guy... Oh, I love how he just died like slumped over and his head like flew into the water or something. That's so grisly. Anyway, I feel like I had to give this guy a fighting chance, which is why I gave him like a bash interruption window. I don't know where this other guy went. I think he's somewhere over here. I'll let him hide for a second. I'll just grab some of the food that's in these pots. Ugh, nothing good. Sometimes you can find beef stew in those pots, but nothing good right now. Okay, oh, he's hiding over there.
We're routed! Fall back!
Fall back? You can't fall back from Taniesi. She'll execute you from behind. Oh god. The bloodthirstiness in this game is not healthy for me. It's just not, it's not healthy for anyone's mental health. So my character just yawned, so she's tired, but it's only slightly tired and that just affects magicka regeneration. So I'm not super worried about that, because it's not like we're casting a lot of spells in the middle of combat. If you're being tactical, you could let someone like walk up here and lure them and then fight them, but like, I don't know, Tani's feeling very bloodthirsty and so am I. So we'll just fight these guys head on. This dude, I knew he was gonna just do a fucking power attack like a dodo. Oh geez, I'm kind of exposed right here. Oh god, these guys are actually like kind of doing a little bit better than their friends. Let's get a bash on this guy. I'm surprised that didn't actually work against him. Right, now this guy's running away. His friend wouldn't let him get away. Alright, this dude we're gonna kill with a reverse power attack as he advances on us. Or we're gonna totally miss the timing on that. That's okay. We missed the timing and the distance on that, but it didn't really matter. I gotta kind of clean this up a little bit. Honestly, this is kind of where you can run into trouble as a Dead is Dead character. Is like you start like getting a little sloppy and having too much fun, and then before you know it, you're dead. This guy's steel greatsword is like significantly more tempered than mine, so I'm just gonna swap those out right now. And then I'm also gonna eat this cooked venison just to regenerate all my stamina. Okay, Anna. Anna and Taniesi need to dial it in a little bit. We're having a little too much fun. It's not bad to have fun when you're playing. Obviously, like, we gotta have some fun. We are playing a computer game. But if we're having too much fun, we're gonna lose focus. We're gonna start, like, taking unnecessary amounts of damage. One thing I just absolutely love about the heavy armor style of play, especially two-handed heavy armor, is pretty quickly you start to feel just like an unstoppable juggernaut. Oh, there's no bandit over there. That's sad. Oh, I wonder if it's too late. Yeah, it's 6:56 in the morning, so the bandit who's normally sitting here is sleeping. Alright, well I guess we'll go wake these guys up. We'll see how arrogant I want to be. Like, do I want to let these guys wake up or just want to kill them while they're sleeping? So there's an archer over there. Then these guys are sleeping. Fuck it, we're gonna let these guys wake up. Haha, this is so overconfident. This is a terrible idea. Fuck it, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna give them a fighting chance. Alright, so let's kill this lady here and now we'll fight these guys. Give them a fighting chance. God, and this fucking stupid lady still charges in with a power attack. Alright, so as usual, let's prioritize the guy with the hammer. Let's get the bash. Come on, buddy. Let's go. He's a little beefy right there. Not that beefy, though. I don't know what is with these guys overextending with these power attacks. It's a terrible idea. Let's go find our sole survivor. She's like, no, please don't kill me. Is she in here? God, there's something really dark about this, like, bandit lady who got woken up. Now she's hiding and, like, hoping that this intruder doesn't kill her. Enough? How does that work for your buddies? Executed. Tanny's a real grim reaper. I love it. Okay, so that's it. That's it for Embershard Mine. God, what a bloodbath. For future reference, if you're clearing out Embershard Mine and you're like not as confident in your ability to just manhandle all of these bandits, there is nothing wrong with waiting until late at night and then ambushing them while they're sleeping. That's honestly the safest way to clear out most bandit dungeons. But like I said, Tanny's feeling bloodthirsty and so am I, so I guess we're just murdering everything. You gotta admit, it was more fun letting them wake up and fighting them that way than just killing them in their beds, although I guess there'd probably be something really fun about killing them all while they're sleeping. Kind of a tactical note there outside of the hilarity of that fight. You notice that a bunch of those guys overextended with power attacks. This is a really great way to exploit bandit timing. Particularly if you're a character who has less armor or less equipment, or if you're a player who's not as confident in your timing. So this guy over here in particular, with the mace, I saw that he was initiating his power attack while he was standing there. So I just kind of stepped out of the way, re-angled, and then started my power attack as he was finishing his animation, which gave me a clean power attack to his side, and I was able to kill him really quickly. Definitely not, like, a required tactic. Like, you can definitely get away with just killing these people the old-fashioned way. But it's kind of fun doing it that way, too. This guy's helmet's a little bit better than our other helmet. Also looks way better. I think the horned helmets look really stupid. As far as other Embershard Mine loot goes, there's like a smithing skill book here. There's a scale armors book here. We're not going to be leveling up smithing though. Although, like, given that these iron ingots are here and that we're next to the forge anyway, I will just like make 2 sets of lock picks really quickly just to get myself a little bit of extra experience points. You can really cheese this if you want to by like breaking down every single piece of item that you find and then like lugging back 2,000 pounds worth of like broken down iron shards to town. I don't know, it's not really my playstyle. I guess it's perfectly valid, the game lets you do it. What we are going to do is we're going to loot this Embershard Mine area. We'll grab the spell tome and the gold. It's a clairvoyance spell tome, so we'll grab that. And then we'll grab the alchemy ingredients from these barrels as well. Embershard Mine tends not to have... Oh, wow, that's a fantastic ring. I was just about to say that this place tends to not to have really great loot, but like, a ring of blocking is really, really solid. We're off to a pretty good run, all things considered. Like, we have these sure grip gauntlets, we have this ring of blocking, like we have steel furred cuirass already. Our weapon is not fantastic, like a steel greatsword is not very good, like we could definitely have gotten luckier with other weapons, but we can solve that problem later. Anyway, that's kind of the end of the combat for today. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna walk back to town, but I'm gonna kill these wolves on the road back to town, grab their carcasses, and then drag their carcasses back to Riverwood, and then butcher the carcasses over by the fireplace. Or by the campfire. And I'm hoping that after butchering these 3 wolf carcasses that I will have leveled up Hunterborn, so that way I can start crafting some other Hunterborn items, which we'll talk about maybe next episode. I think I've saved recently, but just in case I'll save again. I'd hate to have there be a crash after our like super successful run so far. Overall, really fun episode after the like fairly stressful first episode where we were fighting all those bandits at Fort Neugrad. Embershard Mine is just way less stressful than Fort Neugrad. The big difference between the two, like I said, is that Embershard Mine, you almost never fight any mages, whereas Fort Neugrad, you are guaranteed to fight at least 3 mages. And bandit mages was terrifying in the early game. Okay, so there's a wolf carcass right here. I'm just gonna grab that. Ugh, it's honestly gonna fuck with my carry weight. I don't really care at this point in time. I'm just gonna use some power attacks to like get a little bit closer. Lure these wolves over here, and then we'll kill these wolves and... Yo, easy there, wolfos. Jesus Christ. Okay, so wolves are dead. Grab those 2 bodies. Of course they fucking fell all the way down the hill. Oh my god. We can use our power attack to catch up. This is a trick that I feel like everyone has done in vanilla Skyrim. Which is power attacking when you run out of stamina. If you do it with a great sword, it's kind of like comically slow. Like this is just like not very fast. But if you do it with a hunting knife, you move further and it's a lot faster. So this is kind of my preferred way of travel. If I'm ever like super over encumbered and I'm not traveling a really long distance. I don't feel like there's anything inherently too cheesy about like Tani lugging 3 wolf carcasses back to Riverwood from the forest immediately outside of Riverwood. That's not that far of a distance. I also feel like I'm totally just rationalizing this to justify what is obviously a cheesy tactic. That's okay. We're just gonna keep the episode moving along. I'm sure these guards are gonna see me and be like, "Lady, what the fuck are you doing? There's a child sitting here. Like, stop swinging your knife around."
Watch what you're doing.
Ah, the child is like, "Don't stab me." Let's leave those there, and the last thing we'll do in today's episode, I'll have this salmon steak and this tomato soup just to regain a little bit of stamina. We're just gonna cross over the river here and grab that treasure chest from this like very well drawn treasure map that we saw earlier, and then we'll end the episode for today. Anyway, as I was saying, Embershard, pretty easy bandit clear, way easier than Fort Neugrad, but definitely a fun way to cap off our second episode with a little bit of more low-level action. Next time what we're going to do is head over to the Whiterun Plains and start clearing out some of the bandit camps there. We're also going to join the companions. Let's grab this treasure chest. I am gonna grab this corundum. I'm not gonna worry about the corundum ingot, but I will grab these mushrooms. Okay, so we obviously have a ton of loot right now. We're gonna have all of the loot that we have in our inventory, plus we have the loot that we stored in the crate outside of the Riverwood Trader. So all together, like, we're at 2,400 gold right now. I suspect that next episode, when we actually sell everything, we're going to be at, like, probably about 5,000 gold. This just kind of emphasizes the point that gold is really plentiful in Wildlander, even without being super cheesy with how much you're carrying back to camp. Like, we'll have to go butcher those wolf carcasses later. But for now, I'm just going to save and end the episode right here. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our second episode. You can see Tani all covered in blood right here. Tani really is becoming kind of like a bloodthirsty goon. I feel like most of my runs devolve into that. It's not my fault, I swear. It's just the mechanics of the game. Join us next time. We'll head over to the Whiterun Plains. We'll fight some more bandits. We'll probably join the companions as well. I'll get to do a little bit of like, maybe not role playing, but like at least some commentary on the companions quest line. And then we'll just continue this run as we learn more about the heavy armor, two-handed spellblade style of gameplay. Plus enjoy the antics of Anna and Tani rampaging across Skyrim. Thanks everybody for watching, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye everybody. I said next week, but it's probably going to be less than a week, just next episode. It'll probably be in a few days from now. Bye everybody. See you then.